For the first time in just over 3 months, we're headed out here in Away the Hunter on Transylvania, and honestly, it was inspired by the Nez Perce Lodge tour. I got to thinking about how much space there is in this lodge and how much we have not utilized it, and it made me want to try to add some trophies to this map's lodge, and the first thing I thought of is the Mission Wolf. Now, I believe we have to do a couple of missions to get to it, and if you're not familiar with it, we'll take a look along the way, but the first mission is to clean up a campsite, which obviously we have not even discovered on this map, so that'll be a good thing to get us going, and we'll obviously hunt our way there. And naturally, we did not find any mountain species on our way over here, but we at least do have this campsite now, and if we get rid of all this stuff, that should activate the next mission, which hopefully will have us hunting something anyway. And on some level we need to find a need zone for a gray wolf, so we'll head up into the mountains again and see if we have any better luck. We'll even start from the campsite. Now, the obvious answer is to just find a lake and see if we can get a drink zone, and I'm thinking there should be one here, but we do have a herd of chamois way up there, and one thing I'm definitely not going to do is take a 500-yard shot. It seems like almost every chamois we shoot, and mouflon as well, are always like 80+%, so we're at least going to spot and try to pick the best one, because even when we do that, we get high genetics and ones that we don't want to shoot, so we're probably best at least spotting and trying to do a little better. And it's looking like what we've got is the same situation we always run into. A bunch of one-star adults, and I don't know if there really is a way to look at a chamois and identify how big or small the horns are, but it's not something I've actually seen, so I guess we'll just pick one that's definitely a male. That looks to be vital blood, so we shouldn't be going too far. Actually, that was a little bit weird. We'll mark that, see if we can find a wolf zone, and ideally, get to the mission wolf. Well, that's not a drink zone, but that should do. And I guess we have to read about them in the encyclopedia to complete the mission. We'll do that on our way up to grab the chamois. Oh, and it actually continues. We have to harvest 2 female wolves in the Regina Mountain, which I'm guessing is this northwest region. So they probably just finished drinking, or maybe not even quite yet. We might scoot down to that creek to our west, because that may be the way to do it. But finally, our first harvest of the hunt comes along with another need zone for chamois, and this guy, which we doubling and liver shot a little bit far back at 280 yards, was a 12%. Thank goodness we finally shot one that's going to benefit the herd. So we'll sell that, and I think that's what we'll do. We'll go down towards that creek, because somewhere down there, there's bound to be more wolf zones, and if we can see them before they see us, maybe we can even get 2 out of 1 pack. Now we're getting a little somewhere. Got some mouflon out here, including a 2-star mature, so at least a definitive we should shoot that one type of thing. And I guess it's only the 2 males, so we'll get a little closer, try to get him broadside, but at the very least, if we're not going to find wolves as we go through here, this is something I'd love to see. Of the species on this map, fallow deer and mouflon are the ones I want to get 5 stars of the most. They look incredible, and we just haven't had much luck with them, and to be fair, mouflon we just haven't spent the time hunting. If he stays like that, we might be able to just shoot him in the back of the neck or the head. Unfortunately, he's going to avoid that. Maybe we'll get a chance this time. Hopefully we can get lined up. Actually, that's him turning broadside for us, so even better if we can get by that log. That'll do, and while it can feel frustrating, as a couple more come out of there, I don't want to shoot anything that we haven't spotted, but it can feel frustrating to not get the mission objectives done and just not find what we're after. But for me, this is the point of missions. Going places we don't go, encountering animals that we haven't seen before, getting new zones, all that good stuff. That leads to potential trophies in the future, even if it's not getting to that mission wolf right now. As for our mouflon though, we double lung shot him at 146, a 58% I guess as a 2-star mature isn't bad. Hopefully we can see more decent ones of them, and it seems like this creek's pretty decent. We're finding zones, just not many for wolves. If the goal was to shoot a bunch of 1-star adult chamois, that we could most certainly do, and the thing is they live to like 19 years old, so when they reach adult, there's a good chance like younger adults are still going to be a 1-star for a year or so, and it just makes it tough to know what to shoot. And I guess an option is just to shoot nothing, but that kind of runs against the idea of a hunting game, so I guess we're taking our chances with stuff like that, and hopefully one of these days it pays off. But I mean, pretty cool having some success up here in the mountains. That one we double lung shot as well, 28%. Maybe on this side, I guess we could do another mission, but maybe on this side the genetics aren't as good. This has to be the worst spot I could imagine to encounter a pack of wolves, but we're gonna do what we can to get 2 of them. We do have the 270 pump, which probably bodes well for us. I don't even know if that was a female, though. They all started walking all kinds of different directions. I just have a feeling they may run actually back at us, so that one is one we could take. I don't love the angle, though. Maybe just like that. I think that should be a vital hit. Couldn't quite even hit that other one, and they are going to go down over the hill, so we'll have to try to spot them again, and that's what happened the first time. We spooked them. I could, fortunately, up here in the mountains, see a good, like, 450 yards, and they never actually got too far out of sight, so we were able to creep up here to where they slowed down at. That is going to be a fatal hit on the first one. I think it might still be drink time, so I was hoping to catch something down at that lake, but we'll focus on the task at hand here. But at least 1 or 2 wolves down. That was a pretty high shot, but if we hit the spine, it probably would have just insta-dropped anyway. So let's sell that. And the last I saw them, they were kind of going back behind this hill, and that's 500 yards away, so they had already covered a lot of ground. I would bet they're somewhere just down here, so if we go straight to that high point, I think we should be able to spot them and get this done. I don't think this is the same pack. There wasn't a 1-star mature before that I can recall, but we do have a female on the far right. She just went broadside, so let's do that. That should get the mission done. And maybe, was that our pack there? Not that there was anything really identifiable in there, but I guess they ran right to where another one's zone was, because that would make sense, because these ones were just kind of feeding, which I also thought was weird. But either way, we finally got the second female wolf down. That is going to complete the mission, and hopefully get us on to the mission wolf. I actually don't know how many missions we're going to have to do, but just based on other map missions, normally there's not too many before it gets to something good. And indeed, we're on to harvest Aldo, the 12-year-old black wolf missing one eye in the mountains. So he's going to be up in that area. I kind of figured because they made us discover that campsite that it would be close, but I also want to change something up. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if the pack will respond to calls. I want to try to get him with the crossbow. Now here's the thing. He's going to be 50% exactly on the genetics. High fitness is considered over 50%, low fitness is under 50%. I don't know what call, if any, he'll respond to, but we're going to get equipped for that and try to do it anyway. And they're not overly hard to find. It is pretty darn clear. That wolf right there is the one that we're after. So the wind is pretty terrible here. And just based on the way the land lays, I think we're going to go up and around them and try to get somewhere up into this area. That'll probably give us the best chance to call him in close. And I guess right about 200 yards is as close as we're going to want to get, because he's onto us from there. That's roughly calling range. We'll try to scoot like 5 yards closer, just crawling. And then I've got 2 different calls. One that actually has a high and low fitness. If that doesn't work, we'll just try the one that's generic. Oh, that is so cool. The high fitness call is definitely working, and he's actually in range to bring our camera over. I mean, that is pretty darn cool, but I want to focus on making sure we can get him, because the angle is going to be a little bit weird. He's at 40 yards. Got to make sure the call is going to be good. I think we're fine. So let's get the crossbow ready. I think probably zeroing for 27 is going to work. I'd like him to stop, because we're going to have a little bit of a crosswind, and I think with the call maybe running out. Did he just spook from that? I guess so. That's not typically what you see with wolves. Well, that turns into a problem. Take 2. We're going to try to take the shot a little farther away, maybe around 30. So he's at 40 in closing. We'll stay 0 for 27, but about the time we get this lined up, I think we're going to want to go for it. Let's let him take a few more steps. And then if we can just drop this into the chest cavity, It looks like that's what we did, so hopefully that's going to get him, because I don't want to have to call him in again, especially wounded. But he's... that was so cool. He dropped literally right here on top of this. I wonder... Oh, I guess there's like a shoot and harvest side of the mission, because that was kind of cool that popped back up. But let's get a trophy shot here, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully the bolt path worked correctly, because I really want to see where that entered. We had to try to avoid the skull, and frankly I think we hit it, but still punched through to the lungs. And I mean, not the best photo, but at least you can see the wolf. Unfortunately, he did drop on the side that doesn't show the missing eye as well. But let's take a look at what actually happened here. So, yeah, we did just clip the side of the jaw. And assuming everything else is correct, assuming that's showing at the right height, it actually says the only thing we hit was flesh. And it still killed him that fast? Because, like, according to that, we're under the lungs. I don't even know what technically would make that a kill shot then, but I'm not going to complain. As I said, 50% exactly. Good to know that that means they'll respond to a high fitness call. It ends up being a 484 score. I never looked at the score for wolves, so that will also be interesting to take a peek at, but let's tax him. I'm not even 100% sure that this is correct. I don't know what our 5-star wolf scored, but according to that, he would have been a 5-star, and obviously he was just a 2, so a couple of weird things going on simultaneously there, but we'll take him back to the trophy lodge, and I guess we'll try to decide where to go from there. That blood, though, does indicate the animal expires quickly and must be nearby, but it's red in color and a medium amount. I don't know on that one. But anyway, that completes the mission, and now we'll head back to the trophy lodge. And while we're doing so, there is another kill here from Transylvania that I'd like to include in this video. On Friday's live stream over on Twitch, we decided to hunt Transylvania as well, and literally the first kill back on this map was something pretty special, and this 5-star was calculated correctly. 1-star adult. I thought I saw one... yeah, that guy. What are you? Okay. Well, remember that red deer call I mentioned not one to use? We're going to use it now. I'll let him get down, like, on the level. That rack is so cool. We don't do it much, but man, red deer hunting's cool. If he's going to stand there, I think that should be doable. I'm pretty sure that's a lung shot. Saw some pink blood, I believe. Yeah, he's starting to stumble. So not going to need a second shot like we did the last time we shot a 5-star red deer. That's going to look really good on the lodge. Is that uneven rack? I don't know if we're going to do like a multi-mount or put him on the wall, but maybe like a on the mantle kind of thing? That ain't bad. Before he just goes sliding further behind the tree, we'll take one like that. And then, is there a better lit time of day? That's kind of nice. The tree makes it look decent. It actually does, yeah, I'm not mad at it. It worked out quite well. Alright. It was a hard shot. I love the 350. It looks cool, it sounds cool, but man, could it use just 10% more power than it's got. Right in the bottom of the heart at 43 yards. If we push that to, say, even 50 yards, like look at the remaining energy. There was just nothing left. Anyway, 90%, so he must have been an old one. 463. Barely made it. I don't even remember the score of the last one. That's pretty cool. So, a couple of new additions now, and the more recent 5-star red deer is this one on the left. You can see those uneven brow tines, and really that entire side is a little bit wonky, and that's what's cool about red deer in particular. They are some of the only 5-stars that you can consistently get being uneven. As for our wolf, I felt like up here was a fitting place. Eventually, this mount will have to have a wild boar as well, and maybe that's what we should go and hunt. Things are finally starting to reach 5 stars on this map. We have 2 5-star red deer now, the 5-star golden jackal behind us, so maybe some of those wild boar that we saw at the very beginning could have aged to a point where they might be decent now, and we just haven't hunted them, so who knows? And I mean, maybe not a bad choice considering they're literally right outside the lodge. As for this group though, I'm only seeing 1-star adults, so back to kind of the same situation we had with the chamois. I think that closer one is the adult, so we'll take that and hopefully just move on from here. I assume that this is primary habitat for wild boar. I've never even looked into it. When we were hunting Transylvania in any consistent capacity, I had no idea what primary habitat was. This was not the plan, and I don't know what we're shooting, but might as well get the extra ones. Let's see then what this was. I'm pretty sure this was the first one that we shot, and it was a long shot the first time. Kind of surprised the 270 didn't do better, but that was a young standing in front, 50%, so we lucked out. What about the other one? I felt like 2 decently placed shots, enough to bring down whatever it was. I think actually we shot a female, so wouldn't have really mattered where we placed them, but I guess a little bonus there. And I did look, the floodplain is not primary habitat, but lowland forest and grasslands are, so if we head just north of here, I think ones like up in this area would be. Now that's a little more like it. Got a 2-star mature wild boar, and just based on what we saw from the 270, we're gonna try the 300 long range here, which probably, well, I was going to say probably we'll just put it down immediately, but it took that like a champ. You know, I remember when we first got our hands on the 338 Lapua, and I wanted to try to get a double kill with it, and wild boar were the species that we tried it with, because they do tend to be kind of bunched up in their groups, but I had no idea what a poor choice of species I was making. I mean, they're nearly 400-pound animals, and just to complete that mount, we might as well tax that guy. I honestly don't know if we've ever killed a bigger one than a 2-star mature. We pretty much only kill them down there in the floodplains, but thank goodness for need zones, or I'd never have known to check this spot. And I mean, we'll just sort of work our way up through here, see if we find more or any other species. Not a bad deal. Got a herd of roe deer out here with a couple of decent bucks, including a 3-star mature. Now, he looks fairly gray, and as much as I'd like to get a, halfway decent roe deer on the wall, I think probably we're best leaving those genetics in there. I do want to spot whatever's out front, because obviously there's some good genetics in the herd, but I'm thinking that 2-star mature is what we're going to end up taking. Oh, there's actually 2 different 2-star matures, so definitely a herd to come back and look for, but while that guy is kind of in the open and by himself, we know the 270 is not going to be underpowered for a roe deer. That's going to take him down, and I think that's going to be our last kill of the hunt. And I mentioned earlier, as we have a wolf warning call up there, but probably what's going to happen is they're just kind of spooked, so we won't worry about them. I mentioned earlier wanting to get like 5-star mouflon and 5-star fallow deer. 5-star roe deer look incredible, and that's the thing about this map. Everything looks really good. I really like all the species, but we've just not been very good at hunting this map, but maybe we're getting somewhere. We've got 2 5-star red deer now. We're learning a little bit about like the proper primary habitats and all that. It's just we haven't put in the time, but I think we need to. As for our roe deer though, I mean, look at that. Obviously uneven, but not too bad. Double lunged him. He was a 65%, but just scale this up considerably larger, and that's kind of what you're looking at for the 5-stars. They are really, really cool. What we're going to do now, though, is go and complete the multi-mount with our 2-star wild boar. Just a placeholder, but something to see what it's going to look like. I would say definitely worth the 1100 credits just to have that. That is pretty darn cool. I kind of wish it was running out away from the wall instead of towards it, but that just is what it is. I mean, look at the scar over his eye. That definitely does work out well that that's the side that we can see, but I definitely think we need to spend more time on Transylvania. We still need to go back to Nez Perce. We have Demonas of mule deer that we're waiting on. I hope that in spending time here and by shooting some red deer, we see some albino red deer show up at some stage. I'd love to just fill this lodge with all kinds of antlered animals, roe deer, red deer, fallow deer, all that good stuff, and we'll see where we go, but definitely looking forward to getting back out here and hunting for more trophies. On that note, that's going to do it for this video, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.